Kalikas, I'm Frank Trigg. This is MMA Odds Breaker. You're watching Before the Bell. Nick, what fight are we talking about? Is there an important fight this weekend? Something?
Some McGregor guy, Mayweather guy, something like that. Yeah, I believe so.
Some crazy fight of the century supposed to be happening this Saturday. We gotta. So my feed, usually on my Facebook feed, it's usually MMA related stuff, and then now, of course, a little boxing popped in there. But honestly, it overshadowed the press comments last night. It's overshadowed a lot of the McGregor stuff that he's been putting out today. Was John Jones failing his drug test? Not surprised. Hurts because I made him pound for pound the best fighter of all time, coming back and beating Cormier. Like, I had him as the top dog coming back of a year layoff, and now he's failed. Well, we're waiting to hear the final result. Of course, they're going to appeal it. 4-year ban for him if he gets caught, no matter what it is. Like, if it's in a supplement, whatever, they might give him a 2-year ban. That could effectively lose him. Before we get on to Mayweather and McGregor, where did you have John Jones ranked in the pound-for-pound list after he beat DC?
It's tough because, in my opinion, Mighty Mouse is the best fighter in the world on the planet. I mean, the total package, everything that he brings to the table. But if you look at resumes and based on opponents that you beat, you got to put John Jones at the top of the list because, I mean, his resume in the UFC is definitely far more impressive than anybody else on the roster. His ability, his physical attributes, everything about John Jones, I can understand it. So to me, it's a little bit of an argument between Demetrius Johnson and John Jones. But based on records alone, you got to give it to John Jones. Because, I mean, again, not that Mighty Mouse has beaten all chumps or anything, but there's a difference in quality of competition. So I can understand those that made John Jones pound for pound number one.
So I was doing a couple other interviews, a couple of radio interviews, and it was brought to my attention who had the better chance of an upset, Ray Borg over Demetrius Johnson or McGregor over Mayweather. And I resoundingly said Ray Borg has got a better chance of upsetting Demetrius Johnson than McGregor does at beating Mayweather. Where did you open the line originally for McGregor and Mayweather?
Well, at 5 dimes, it went up at minus 1,100, and the comeback must have been around plus 700 or so. Off the top of my head, I don't have it in front of me now. So it was around 1,100. Vegas actually opened before anybody. They ended up popping out a minus 2,500 line. So it was that high at once. It was minus 2,500 for Floyd, and the comeback, I believe, was plus 1,100 on McGregor there. So it's been bet all the way down. Currently, we're seeing at dimes.eu. So make sure you guys check 5 dimes. That is the best place to bet this fight, by the way. Right now, it's minus 660 at 5 dimes, and the comeback is around plus 480 for McGregor. So a huge drop in line. And everybody is betting on McGregor. There's no doubt about that.
And they're saying that the Irish contingency still hasn't shown up yet, and their bets are going to come in. A lot of them bet back at home because they have easier access to bookmakers in Ireland. But they're also going to bet once they get to Vegas, they have that Vegas ticket in their hand, that contingency, once it shows up Friday and Saturday morning, depending what time they get in, a lot more money is going to be coming in, a lot more bets are going to be coming in on McGregor. And I heard someplace, this was 2 weeks ago, so it could have changed, that 80% of the bets are going on McGregor, but 70% of all the money is going on Mayweather. So are you seeing that same trend at 5 dimes as well?
Yeah, the bigger bettors, the sharper bettors a lot of times, and the bigger bettors are coming in on Mayweather. I mean, they understand the game. They understand what's going on. And a lot of times, they're not always chalk players. But in this situation here, with a price drop like that, there's definitely value on chalk here. And I mean, at 5-1, 6-1, saying that, me, I love a good dog myself. But in this situation here, there's definitely value in the favorite price, especially with the margin of drop. I mean, it becomes an amazing play, really. Now, you don't want to go too crazy because you never know, of course. And laying that much chalk, I think, is always a risk. But in this fight, I mean, in my opinion, it would be the biggest upset in sports history. A lot of people believe that as well, if McGregor is able to pull this off. Now, the odds don't indicate that, obviously, with the drop in price. But, I mean, just common sense-wise, you have a guy that professionally is 0-0, 0-0 in boxing, facing a guy that's 49-0 and arguably the greatest boxer of all time. Definitely one of the best tactical boxers. I mean, what else can you say about Floyd Mayweather? The people that he's competed against, the people he's beaten, everything. I mean, he's at the top of the food chain for a reason. He gets that kind of recognition for a reason as well. So McGregor making his boxing debut, going up against that, I mean, it is what it is. A lot of people believe it's common sense. There's no way he should win this fight. I agree with it. I don't think there's really much of a chance for McGregor to win this fight.
I'm secretly wanting McGregor to win this fight to offset the balance of the world. Like, it'll implode, like, to be a brand new Big Bang Theory. There's going to be all these new things that come out if McGregor wins this fight. The reality of it is, I just don't think it's going to happen. I saw a report from Teddy Atlas, who is the best analysis guy when it comes to boxing fights. He understands the game better than anybody else that I have talked to when it comes to breaking down a fight and breaking down a fighter and what they got to do to win. He was basically saying there is 1,000 different ways that Mayweather can win, and the real only way that McGregor can win is because it's lefty versus righty. Their front legs are going to be in each other's way. There's always that the lefty always wants to stay to the outside of the right-handed foot so that they can keep spinning them and that kind of game with their footwork. But he's saying just step on his foot. He's got to step on his foot all the time. He's got to punch him. He's got to push him. He's not going to be able to knock him down because his hands are too tight. You have to push him a lot of the times against the ropes. And when he gets against the ropes, the way that he moves, that Mayweather moves, is he moves so he doesn't get hit in the head. So he dips his head down. Now, obviously, he's available for a kick. Obviously, he's available for a knee, but none of that matters in this boxing fight. So as a result, he was saying, don't even bother hitting him in the head. Once he's against the ropes, just start digging to his body. Just start hitting him to the body and try to see if that opens anything up. That's basically the only way that Teddy Atlas, the best guy in the sport for breaking down a fight, says that McGregor can win. Being dirty, not illegal dirty. Now, I'm not talking that kind of stuff. I'm talking being a dirty boxer on the inside, using a lot of tactical tricks, pushing him against the cage. He never said once he's going to be able to knock him down. He never said once he's going to be able to TK him. He never said once he's going to KO him. He said the only way he can win is by doing these things every single round and winning a decision. There is no way McGregor can win a decision against Mayweather. No way. In Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena, in front of all those judges, all these people that are boxing guys, there's no way he wins a decision. Am I wrong, or do you agree with me on that one?
No, I agree with you. I mean, there's not many ways at all, period, that I see McGregor win the fight. I know, I mean, everybody always has a puncher's chance, especially with the athleticism, with the power, with the size. You can, list off all the positive attributes that McGregor has coming into this fight. But still, I mean, Mayweather's faced a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of big fighters. He's faced them all. Every kind of, there's nothing he hasn't seen before. So even though McGregor does have a lot of power, and he is a great striker, you're right. I mean, this is a boxing match. So for me, if it hits the scorecards, there's no doubt Floyd would be dancing around the whole time and just probably making McGregor look foolish, right? And at the same time, though, I really think that it does end in knockout. I think this fight does not hit the scorecards. I think Floyd ends up knocking McGregor out at some point because he is going to be landing along the way frequently. And I think McGregor will end up tiring out a little bit because he's going to at times you got to get frustrated, and he's going to put a lot into his power punches, obviously. Even if he's hitting shoulders, if he's hitting arms, if he's hitting chest, he's going to wear himself out a little bit more, I think, especially as the fight progresses. He's going to get more frustrated. And I think that's going to leave a lot of openings for Floyd. And even though he's not known as a big puncher, again, McGregor's not a natural boxer. I mean, he's not a professional boxer. So I think he's going to get hit. And as he gasses a little bit, Floyd's going to find the opportunity to probably knock McGregor out. So we'll see. I know a lot of people can make a case that it might go 12 rounds because McGregor does have a really good chin. I mean, that's one thing. He definitely does. But, at times in MMA, he showed some gas tank issues. It seems to be a little bit better, as his fights, he's worked on that a little bit. His conditioning has gotten a little bit better. But this is a boxing match. This is a different animal, when it comes to the fighting game. So I think we're going to probably see McGregor get hit enough that potentially Mayweather ends up knocking him out at some point. So I do see this fight by knockout, but I actually think it's Mayweather knocking him out.
When do you see it happening?
I think if we see Mayweather knocking him out, it could happen mid to late, mid rounds to late rounds. If we see McGregor, obviously, I mean, he might be right in his prediction. If it ends early, it probably is within the first 4 rounds or so for McGregor, pulling off the huge upset. So I think it might be McGregor has enough chin and heart. He's going to come to win this fight. That's one thing that you have to respect about Conor McGregor. Everything that he says, it's obviously to help sell the fight, but he believes it. It's not like he's saying, I mean, with the size of Mayweather, oh, this guy's too small for me. I'm going to, his core, everything, I'm just too much for him. He really believes that. So confidence is going to be in there for him. I mean, he's going to want to, there's no doubt he's going to come in to knock Mayweather's head off, really. But is it going to happen? Realistically, not. So I do respect that fact, but I think it's probably mid to late for Mayweather knockout and early, maybe, under 5-6 rounds for Conor if he gets it done.
I've been picking 5th round TKO by Mayweather. I see it. The one factor that a lot of people don't realize is that the referee kind of knows the score in boxing matches. Like, they pretty much know who's winning the fight. And so when it gets into the later rounds, if there's it gets to a point where it's mathematically impossible for this guy to catch up to win, even if he won all the rest of the rounds. So if Mayweather wins the first 7 rounds, unless there's a bunch of knockdowns by McGregor going into the back half, there's no way he can catch up. He's going to lose. He's going to lose the fight. So the only way now he can win is by knockout, right? And if you see that there's no way that this guy's going to get a knockout, there's no way possible that he's even getting close to hitting him, and he's starting to get tagged up. His eyes are starting to swell closed. He's starting to get bloody. The ref will step in and stop the fight and call it TKO. And it could be in the middle of, he's about to come back. No, it's over, man. You're getting your butt kicked. The scorecards say you're down 8 rounds to none, and you're getting closed up. We're going to stop this fight and stop the brain damage. That's what boxing refs do now. They're really involved in that. So I do see this fight ending in a TKO, not as much as a KO, just because of the way boxing rules are set up. But I really do see Mayweather winning this fight. But I'm going to be nervous as hell the first 2 rounds, because that's when McGregor is the most dangerous. Is those first 6 minutes of him coming out there, a lot of power, a lot of energy, and he's going to be able to go with it. The biggest thing I'm worrying about is the adrenaline dump. I don't care what anybody says. We can have Dominic Cruz says ring rust is not a factor. He's a liar. Ring rust is a factor. You can talk about a guy, there's no adrenaline dump if you train hard enough for it. Well, the reality of it is McGregor's going to have an adrenaline dump when you get in there and T-Mobile erupts and he realizes all those millions of people are at home, the Irish fans are going nuts. 100% he's going to have an adrenaline dump. Does it happen on the first round? Does it not finish until the second round? When does that happen? Once the adrenaline is gone, now he's got to fight on what he knows. And that comes back to, he might be tight, but what he knows the best, he drops his hands, and that's where he fights from that weird karate stance. If you fight a guy like Mayweather in that weird karate stance with your hands down, you're going to get smacked. And if you get smacked enough, you're going to fall down. Do you see any way that McGregor can win this fight besides having a clean knockout in the first 4 rounds?
Not really. I think that's probably the way. And part of that it's going to have to be if Floyd shows up looking like an old man here. I mean, I think that's realistically the only way he loses this fight, because he won't be able to move as good. He gets maybe caught up and his movement's not as quite the flow that we used to see. So if he shows up here with ring rust as well, like you just mentioned, on the other side of it or whatever, if Floyd comes in with ring rust, it shouldn't be as big of a factor with all the experience that he has. But still, he hasn't fought for a little while, obviously, as well. He hasn't boxed professionally. He retired. So if he shows up and looks like an absolute old man, I mean, and he can't move anymore, then obviously Conor could tee off and maybe get lucky enough to do something like that. But no, I think it's probably, like we said, the only way he can win is early on, maybe the first 4 or 5 rounds. And after that, even before that, I think Mayweather's going to be winning. The first couple rounds are going to be interesting, and I hope we're all wrong, by the way. I hope all the boxing experts out there and everybody, I would love to see McGregor pull it off. I mean, everybody loves a good upset story. Of course, if my money's on the other side, though, that's a different story, And I have a little bit of action already on Mayweather, but I didn't load up or whatnot. We'll see where the lines go. I'm not a huge chalk bettor, but like I said, there is a lot of value on the line right now. So if you're going to bet this fight, it is a favorite or pass situation. And I would recommend actually probably laying a little bit of cash down on the price. I wouldn't go nuts. You just never know. I mean, and then I also heard an aspect out there. I mean, I believe it was ESPN or Fox Sports earlier today that a radio show host said there's potential. What if Floyd throws a fight? What if Floyd catches, a big shot and goes down because he wants to make this thing a trilogy and bring in and not make this $100 million in his pocket, but potentially make this $1 billion fight.
So when I interviewed Kevin Iole, he was like, if Mayweather loses, if he wins, we'll never see him again for sure. Kevin said if he loses, we'll probably see him again against somebody else. But he can't fight Triple G. He can't fight Canelo. He can't fight anybody else in the weight class because he's already beat Canelo, but Canelo was basically a kid. He was 21 years old when he fought him. There's no real value in fighting anybody else other than McGregor, and it will flip-flop. It'll be a $300 million fight each. It'll be a $600 million fight for those, if they have a part 2. And then, obviously, Kevin and I talked off the air. He said the exact same thing, Nick. If he loses the first one, he's 100% going to win the second one. And then the third one becomes a trilogy, becomes a $1 billion fight. And he is closing in on $1 billion of total winnings in this fight in his career. $1 billion right now this guy's got. So it's amazing what could actually happen if it comes together. We just have to wait and see how it goes. Do you think that if Mayweather gets hit hard enough that he'll take a knee and just call it a day and try to come back for a rubber fight?
Yeah, I don't think so. And I think it was maybe Will Kane on the Rosillo show on ESPN that said that, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was covering in. So I believe. Yeah, no, but I don't think that. No, I don't think Floyd's actually going to do that, though. But you have to make it as a little side note there. I mean, potentially, you suffer a loss. I mean, I know that 49-0 is very important, and getting that 50th win is important for Floyd's legacy. But $1 billion, potentially $1 billion, changes everything a little bit. So, but again, that's a conspiracy theory. That's make of it what you will. I don't think it's going to happen. But people are floating that around a little bit out there. And if you think about it, I mean, it possibly makes a little bit of sense, for something like that to happen. So you just got to be careful. You never know. I mean, judges are bad. I don't think they think it messed this fight up because it should be clear enough if it does go to the scorecards and Mayweather wins decisively. Referees are bad. I mean, there's, people, and again, no offense because I know you're refereeing as well, but I'm saying typically, I mean, people make mistakes. We're all human, right? So not necessarily they're purposely bad or anything. It just, things happen that you don't catch something in the cage or whatever, or in the ring, and you miss something. People make mistakes. Fights get stopped too early sometimes. There's just so many factors that factor into this thing that it is. I mean, still laying high chalk isn't always a smart thing. But again, if there's a time to do it, probably this one here.
I want the folks at home to understand there's over $200 million in fight purse happening in this fight. Just over $200 million in fight purse. The referee gets $25,000 for that fight, and the judges get $20,000 each for that fight. In MMA, it's around $1,500 that you get for the entire night, not for one fight, but for the entire night as a referee, and about $1,000 for the entire night as a judge. So you have to understand they're paying more, but also look at what's $20,000 compared to $200 million. That's crazy the amount of money that these judges and refs are getting paid, and it's still not even close to what the fighters are going to make. And so there's always room for, hey, you want me to be a full-time judge or ref? Well, how many of these big fights are there a year? I can't do it because there's only 6 big fights a year, and they're not in Nevada. There's 3 in California, 2 in Nevada, and 1 in Ohio. Now all of a sudden I can't make a living doing this. I have to have another full-time job, which most folks do. But you have to understand the amount of money that's being pushed on this thing, and the people involved are responsible for fighter safety, the referee, and for scoring this fight. Are severely underpaid compared to what's actually going out the door to these fighters. So who knows what can happen? Who knows what's going to go on? This is a very interesting matchup. And like I said from the very beginning, Nick, back when we first started talking about this, 4 or 5 months ago, this is the dumbest fight I've ever seen put together. This fight makes absolutely no sense why anybody would put this fight together other than for a pure money grab. And I have watched every show, every tweet, every text, every video, and I am buying the fight. I am 100% all in on this thing, and I don't care. I don't care who wins. Don't care. I'm completely invested in what happens. That's where I'm at. I want to see who does what, and believe me, if McGregor wins, I will be jumping up and down and will be spilling my drink all over everybody sitting next to me because I'll be going nuts to see the upset of the century. Well, upset of the last 2 centuries, really, if you want to look at it, for McGregor. How happy will you be? I know you got your money on Mayweather, but how happy will you be if McGregor upsets the bucket like this?
I mean, yeah, I'll be thrilled because it's crazy to say that, but yeah, it would be remarkable. I mean, Floyd would go down, or I should say Conor would go down as the best combat sports athlete of all time. I mean, there's no question about that too. So it would be great for UFC fans, for MMA fans out there, all those people that are coming in and, betting a little bit of cash on Conor. I mean, they're going to be thrilled, all that stuff. So yeah, you love a good underdog story, and this would be at the top of the list of all time as far as underdog stories go. So I would be thrilled. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't want to see my money on the other side of it go down. I mean, obviously money is more important, than, being happy for, seeing something like that happen if you're betting it heavy. But again, I'm not going to put myself probably in that position where I'm sweating it that bad, but that being said, yeah, I'll be happy. And again, everybody's rooting for that Cinderella type of story, whatever. And yeah, so there's no doubt. It just, do you imagine the headlines and the storylines if it happens the next day? See, I think there's a lot less buzz. If Floyd wins, people will probably talk about it for a few days and that's it. I mean, well, most of us expect it to happen. But if Conor wins, holy cow. I mean, the amount of buzz it's going to be all over the place. It's actually even better for websites, obviously. That's one thing, this fight. You mentioned it. I agree completely about it. It's such a mismatch. It's not really, in my opinion, a real good fight, obviously. But all the spectacle that comes along with it, I'm tuned in. Everybody's tuned in. We all want to see what happens. And I mean, this is a big money grab for both people, but it's intriguing. I mean, it had to happen. This fight really did have to happen. I think, they were smart by setting it all up and making this fight a reality because a lot of fans did want to see it. So you got to please the fans. And it was definitely on demand. It was something that everybody kind of was hoping for, even if it's not going to be the best boxing match of the year. You still, the spectacle of it all, the smack talking. I mean, it becomes an entertainment type of night, and not just a night for the last, like you said, 4 or 5 months, however long it's been. The buzz has been around this fight for even longer. I mean, it's been entertaining really throughout the whole process.
It really has. So I read this one article that said that the sportsbook are in a little bit of a panic. They'll lose pretty big if McGregor wins. Like the sportsbooks will take a very large hit. Is that a reality, or is that just something that somebody's just trying to put out there to scare us?
No, it is in some places. It's a reality. But as we're getting closer, obviously, to fight day and fight time, there's a lot of money coming back in, and heavier money is coming in on Floyd. So the line's starting to creep up a little bit. It was as low as minus 350 at one point. Now you're seeing, like I said, it's back up to around 600 at some places. So the heavy bettors, and people are arriving in Vegas, obviously, too. So big money, players are hitting Vegas, and now they're starting to put their money on Floyd. So that has softened up a little bit. But there's definitely some books out there that are going to be exposed. And if McGregor does pull off the upset, they're going to get hammered. But I think overall, it's not going to be as bad as people think because, I mean, there's just going to be so much money bet on this fight in general that they should end up closing the gap a little bit, and their exposure should be pretty decent. I think a lot of the books are going to probably need Mayweather to win this fight, and they probably will get what they want, But I don't think they're going to take as bad of a loss as a lot of people are thinking. But again, every book is a little bit different. Their customer base is a little bit different. So you can't speak across the board. So I think there is going to be some books that take a bad hit, but most of them should be fairly safe, I would think, by the time the fight actually goes off.
Well, Vegas has got a lot of the sports books now are run by William Hill, which is the oldest sports book in the world. It's been around since the 1700s, and they all get hit by the same person at the same time. So if William Hill takes a big loss, that would be astronomical to see that happen to a big company like that because they're international right now. They run a lot of the casinos on the Strip, but they also still have a lot of casinos that they run back in Europe. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. But final thought before we get out of here: the one thing I hate about boxing, with MMA, you and I will talk main event, co-main event, and there will be 4 or 5 other fights on the undercard that we're really interested in, but just don't have the time to talk about. We spent 20 minutes, obviously, talking on McGregor Mayweather because it is that big of a fight. We have that kind of time. But also, I have no effing clue who else is on this card. I have no idea. Is there 20 fights? Is there 30 fights? Is there one fight? Is this the only fight? I have no idea. Is there a full card for this boxing fight?
You know what? I haven't checked myself, honestly, as far as what the undercard of this bout is. But I do know that they did stack. I think the co-main event is actually pretty decent. So they have a few good boxing matches, marquee matchups on the undercard. I think as the fight card goes, you get deeper in the fight card, there's going to be, weaker fights. But I think the first maybe 2 or 3 fights, obviously before the Mayweather-McGregor fight, are actually decent. I mean, you have top-tier boxers that are going to put on a great show. So for this, they went outside of their usual, like you said, a lot of times it's maybe main event. Now, because the UFC puts on so many great cards, boxing's starting to open up their eyes and realize we got to put more than one good fight on these cards. So now we're seeing in boxing, the co-main event's actually decent most of the times as well. So they are filling up the undercard with okay fighters, but still not the level of the UFC cards that you see, obviously. So, but you're right. There's been no buzz around the undercard at all. I mean, I think the diehard boxing fans will understand and they'll respect what this promotion is doing right now for this weekend. But overall, yeah, you're right. You don't hear anything else except McGregor Mayweather. There's no doubt about that.
Really bad for Miguel Cotto, one of the great boxers, man. Just an amazing athlete, amazing fighter. He's fighting the same night. Honestly, I got to put my personal opinion out there. One of my buddies is the head of security for Oscar De La Hoya. Caesar's been a great friend of mine. He's Mike Beltran, the ref with the big long mustache. It's his cousin. Caesar has been a great friend of mine for several years. He's the head of security for De La Hoya, and De La Hoya is a complete freaking idiot to put Miguel Cotto fight the same night in I think it's the StubHub Center in L.A. The same night that McGregor Mayweather is going off. It makes no sense. You could have pushed it by a week. Move it to next weekend. Move it to next Saturday night. Don't do it on the same night because now I'm a fan of boxing. I'm a boxing fan. So I want to see Miguel Cotto fight. DVR. I got to put on DVR. I can't watch it live. Why can't I watch it live? Because I have to watch the Maymack fight live. That's why. So now as Miguel Cotto is not getting my full attention, excuse me, so I'll read the results of what happened in his fight before I see the fight, so I already know what's going to happen. I'm still going to watch the fight just because I want to see the fight, but I want to know the results to be on the internet. I would not do it reverse. I would not be watching the Miguel Cotto fight and have the Maymack fight on the internet and just checking the results. I would not do that. It makes no sense. This fight is epic. We absolutely have to go to watch this fight and see what goes down. I'm really interested in this fight. I can't tell you in a long time how hype I am for this fight. I've got 4 different parties I've been invited to. I'm still waiting. I'm in Hawaii right now. I'm still waiting to hear back from my buddy if he got me tickets to the fight. If he got me tickets, it's Thursday night. If he got me tickets, I will leave tomorrow night, land in Vegas Saturday morning, and go to the fight and fly back Sunday. I will be there. 100% if I get tickets, I'm going. It is one of those fights you cannot miss. I had last-minute tickets to the John Jones-Daniel Cormier fight, and I was like, it's okay. I can watch on TV. I could go, but I'll kind of write it out. And that fight to me was super important as well, but not as much of a spectacle as this one coming up with Maymack. This fight is eclipsed everything.
Yeah, I heard that the ticket sales aren't going. I mean, I think there's still obviously a lot of tickets left to be sold. They're not going as well as expected, but it's what?
That's what I heard was 6,500 was left.
Okay, that's not bad but they are going to break records at the gate anyway, right? I heard that they're going to go far over $72 million gate or something because the ticket prices are so high, though. So I check the current prices out there, but yeah, I know that it's not a cheap ticket.
The current price, and help me if I'm wrong, I think the nosebleed seats are $1,500, and the floor seats are still $10,000. You're like, come on, what fan has that kind? It's cheaper, to be honest with you. Even if you're Irish and you want to be there, it's cheaper for you to fly in. Pay the $30 to watch it at a closed circuit TV place, someplace in town that's going to air it live, and just be in town for it and go celebrate with your countrymen after the fight's over, or mourn with your countrymen after the fight's over, as opposed to paying $1,500 US to all of a sudden jump into this fight. It makes no sense. It really doesn't make any kind of sense. And I got a lot of friends that live in Vegas that want to go, and they're like, I can't. There's no way I can pull out a $1,500 ticket, and that's nosebleed. Like, why would you? If you live in town, why would you? Why wouldn't you just go home and pay $100 to watch it on pay-per-view and be able to pause it and go to the bathroom and get a drink whenever you want to, and then go out afterwards and be in the vibe and be in the energy of the post-fight stuff that goes on?
Yeah, it makes sense. I heard to get a good seat around $5K for the fights or something, to get a really solid seat over there. So that's crazy. Yeah, like you said, the average fan is not going to come close to paying that for a ticket price. But, I mean, they're selling tickets. They're doing enough, and they're going to still break gate records. So, I mean, the demand is there. I mean, it's definitely there for what they want. I mean, again, it would be nicer if they could get more of the casual person in the door, for those seats. But, hey, it is what it is. They know what they're doing. It's such a huge money grab, I mean, across the board for everybody that's involved. And I got to say, I mean, traffic for websites, MMA sites out there, boxing websites out there. I mean, you put Mayweather, McGregor in, as far as, any article or any content that you put up there, you're going to get clicks. So across the board for all the media outlets, TV, you name it, it's been great. I mean, it's definitely been a good thing, and it's bringing a lot of attention to combat sports, period. So there's a lot of good things I like about it. But like I said, I mean, we all know that it is a spectacle more so than an actual boxing match, but it's bringing a lot of positives, spotlighting a lot of good things about combat sports. And I love to see that because the growth of the UFC recently, boxing's starting to get – a lot of people were saying boxing's starting to die down. I think boxing's starting to get a second wind a little bit. They've been putting on some pretty good, pretty good events overall. They're trying to, like I said, keep up with the UFC the way they're doing things a little bit different now too. So boxing's still alive. I think in this fight, especially if it goes as planned and Mayweather wins, it's not going to be a bad thing for boxing either. So a lot of good things can be said about this fight and what it brings to the table, even as a spectator across the board of the people that are involved. Really love it. So I am glad. Like you said, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to be looking forward to it. I'm going to be excited. And I can't believe, I'm saying that because I'm not planning on it being a good fight. I mean, a good competitive boxing match. So, but I'm still excited about it. No doubt.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us here on Before the Bell. Man, I can't wait for this fight to happen. Of course, next week we'll be back here with some more UFC news. Don't forget to check back here for MMA Oddsbreaker for all your updates on all combat sports. And be sure to come back and check out the lines on 5dimes.eu. I'm Frank Trigg. That's Nick Kalikas. Thanks so much for paying attention. We'll talk to you next time.